The prisoner's eyes, the alien girl sat in the corner of a dimly lit human-based cell. Her thin arms wrapped tightly around her knees, her eyes burning with hatred. She hated the walls, the lights, the cold air. And most of all, she hated the humans who walked past her without care. Her silver skin shimmered faintly under the neon lamps, and her long dark hair fell across her face like a shadow. She was young, but her gaze carried the weight of war. Every breath she took was filled with anger. In her heart, she swore that if she ever escaped, she would never look at a human without. Remembering the destruction of her homeworld, the guards outside spoke casually, laughing and joking. To them, she was nothing more than a prisoner of war. They called her creature an alien, never by her true name. She closed her eyes and whispered the word Earth with disgust. For her, Earth was not a planet. It was a wound. Yet, in the corner of her vision, she noticed someone different. A human pilot stood silently near the cell. He was not like the others. His uniform was simple. His hands carried the grease of a mechanic, and his eyes carried no hate. Instead, he looked at her with curiosity, as if wondering what pain she hid behind her silence when the other guards left. The pilot stepped closer. He placed a small food packet near the bars. She glared at it, then at him, her jaw tightened. She slapped the food away, the packet sliding across the floor. "I will never eat your poison," she spat. Her voice was sharp, filled with venom. The pilot did not reply. He only looked at her with calm eyes. Then he left quietly. The girl's chest rose and fell with rage. She told herself she hated him too. She hated his silence, his pity, his strange kindness. That night, the cell felt colder. She wrapped her arms tighter, remembering the screams of her people, the burning skies of her village, and the sound of ships raining fire from above. Humans had done that. Humans had killed her family. Her hatred grew sharper. Yet when she closed her eyes, the face of the silent pilot returned in her mind. She clenched her fists and forced herself to hate him more. Days passed. Each morning, the same pilot came by. Sometimes he left food, sometimes only water. She rejected it. Though hunger clawed at her stomach, pride was stronger than pain. She would rather starve than accept the hand of her enemy. But something about him disturbed her. Why did he not laugh like the others? Why did he not mock her or shout at her? His silence was heavy, like a question she did not want to answer. One evening, the alarms in the base rang loudly. Red lights flashed, and the walls shook. The alien girl lifted her head, her sharp ears catching the sound of explosions. Something was happening outside, something dangerous. The guards rushed away, leaving her alone. She pressed her hands against the cold bars, her heart racing through the smoke of fear. One thought rose inside her. This was her chance. Her people must be coming. They would rescue her. They would kill every human here. She smiled faintly, her hatred burning brighter than ever. But even in that moment, her mind betrayed her. A single image flashed in her thoughts, the human pilot's calm eyes, watching her in silence, and she whispered to herself, "Why do I still see him?" The human pilot. The alarms echoed through the base like thunder. Red lights flashed across the long hallways. Soldiers rushed past in panic, shouting orders. The alien girl gripped the cold bars of her cell, her heart beating fast. She thought rescue had finally come. Her people must be here, she told herself. They would break open the walls, and she would see her sky again. But the doors to her cell did not open. The guards had all run, leaving her locked inside. Smoke seeped into the corridors, and the ground shook with every blast. She pressed her face to the bars, her chest rising with both fear and hope. Then she saw him again. The young human pilot rushed into view, his uniform half burned by smoke, his helmet tucked under one arm. He was not carrying a weapon, only tools. He looked at her through the flashing red light, his eyes steady, not filled with cruelty. "Let "Me out," she hissed, her voice sharp. "My people are coming. You will all burn." The pilot did not answer immediately. He knelt near the control panel, sparks flying as he worked. "Your people are not here," he said finally, his tone calm but heavy. "It's another strike. The whole base could fall. If you stay in there, you'll die." The girl's lips curled in defiance. She wanted to scream that death was better than owing her life to a human, but another explosion shook the wall. A ceiling beam crashed near her cell. Dust and fire rained down. Her body trembled despite her pride. The pilot forced the panel open. Wires spilling out, he twisted them quickly. His fingers steady, even as the ground quaked. With a final spark, the lock clicked open. The door slid to the side with a metallic groan. She stepped out slowly, her eyes narrowing. She kept her distance. Ready to fight if he tried to touch her, but he only pointed toward the corridor. "This way," he said. "Why?" she demanded. Her voice cracked with suspicion. "Why would you help me?" He looked at her, smoke swirling between them. For a moment, his face carried something deeper than duty. "'Cause no one deserves to be left behind in fire," he said simply. The words struck her strangely. She had expected arrogance or pity instead. His voice carried truth. For a moment, she faltered, but pride quickly returned. She raised her chin. "I don't need you," she whispered, even as her knees wavered beneath her. The pilot did not argue. He turned and ran down the hallway. She followed despite herself. The walls trembled, and flames spread across the floor. In the chaos, her thoughts twisted. Why would an enemy choose to free her? Why not let her die? They reached a blast door that had partially collapsed. The pilot pushed against it with all his strength, but it refused to move. Dust fell on his hair. His breathing grew harsh. The alien girl watched him struggle, and against her will, she stepped forward. She placed her hands beside his, and together they shoved. The door groaned, then finally gave way. A corridor of smoke and fire opened before them. The pilot looked at her for a second, surprised. She quickly turned her face away, refusing to admit she had helped, but deep inside, something cracked. She had hated humans with all her soul, yet this one did not fit the monster she had imagined. He was still her enemy, but he was also the reason she was alive at this moment as they ran. Through the burning base, she whispered in her heart, almost like a curse. Why him? Why is it him? Escape attempt. The fire spread quickly through the base. Metal groaned as explosions shook the walls. The alien girl followed the human pilot. Though every step felt like betrayal to her pride, she told herself she was only using him for survival. Nothing more, nothing less. They reached the shuttle bay. A wide chamber filled with smoke. Sparks rained from broken lights above. Several small ships stood ready, but many were damaged from the attack. The pilot rushed toward one. Its silver wings scarred but intact. She stopped at the entrance, her chest rising with anger and confusion. "This is madness," she hissed. "My people will come. They will find me. I don't need you or your machines." The pilot turned, his face calm even in chaos. "Your people are not here," he said firmly. "If they were coming, they would be here already. Right now, it's you and me. If you stay, you die." Her heart burned with fury. How could a human speak as if he knew her people, as if he knew her fate? She clenched her fists, her nails digging into her skin. "You are my enemy," she spat. "I should kill you." He did not flinch. Instead, he stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Then kill me later," he said. "But if you want to live now, get on the ship." The words struck her like a blade. She froze, her mind spinning. She had dreamed of revenge, of destroying humans one by one. But here, in the smoke and fire, her enemy had opened the door to life. Another blast ripped through the walls, sending debris crashing down. The force knocked her off her feet. Her body slammed against the floor. A burning beam fell above her, and she braced for death. But strong arms pulled her away at the last second. The pilot dragged her out of danger. His own sleeve caught fire, and he slapped it out with a grimace. He looked at her, his eyes steady. "Decide now," he said. "Live with me or die without me." Her throat tightened. Hatred still roared inside her, but survival screamed louder with a sharp breath. She climbed into the shuttle. Her movements were stiff, her pride bleeding with every step. The pilot followed quickly, sealing the hatch behind them. Inside, the ship hummed as he powered it up. The engines coughed and roared. The alien girl sat in the co-pilot seat, her arms crossed, her eyes sharp as blades. She would not thank him, not ever. But deep inside, she knew her life now rested in his hands. The shuttle lifted, shaking as it rose through smoke and flame. Outside, the night sky was filled with fire. Enemy ships rained destruction on the base. The girl's eyes widened as she saw humans running, fighting, dying for the first time. She felt a strange silence inside. A question she could not answer. The pilot pushed the controls, the shuttle weaving through falling debris. Alarms blared in the cockpit, warning of damage. His hands moved with precision, his face focused, calm even as death surrounded them. The alien girl stole a glance at him, her heart twisted with something unfamiliar. He was still her enemy, yet in this moment he was the only reason she was alive. She whispered to herself, so soft he could not hear, "Why do you save me?" The shuttle broke free from the burning base, climbing into the cold void of space. But the danger was not over. Ahead, enemy fighters appeared on the radar. Her people's ships, sleek and deadly. Her chest filled with hope for a heartbeat. But then the radio crackled with sharp alien voices. And her eyes widened as she realized they were not here to rescue her. They were here to kill them both. Asterisk fire in the sky. The shuttle cut through the smoke of the burning base. Its engines roared as it climbed into the cold night sky. The alien girl sat stiff in her seat, her sharp eyes locked on the radar. Her breath caught when she saw the signals blinking ahead, ships from her own people, sleek and silver. For a moment, hope swelled inside her. Maybe they had come for her. Maybe she would finally be free of this human. Her lips parted in relief, but the radio crackled. Sharp alien voices filled the cockpit. Their words made her blood run cold. Destroy the human craft. No survivors, the voice ordered. Her own people had no idea she was inside. Or perhaps they did not care. She was only a prisoner. A pawn in a war. Her heart pounded, confusion flooding her chest. The human pilot, Ryan, tightened his grip on the controls. His eyes never left the stars ahead. He glanced at her once. "There?" "Not here to save you," he said, his tone low but steady. "They'll kill us both." Her throat tightened. She wanted to deny it, to scream that he was wrong. But deep down, she knew he was right. Her people had abandoned her the moment she was captured. The first fighter ship darted toward them, weapons lit like burning suns. The shuttle shook violently as blasts tore through the air around them. Ryan threw the ship into a sharp roll, dodging fire by inches. Sparks flew across the cockpit. Alarms screamed. The alien girl grabbed the seat, her nails digging deep into the fabric. She had flown before with her people, but never like this. The human pilot's movements were sharp, precise. His jaw clenched as he twisted the controls. His eyes burned with focus. "Hold on," he warned. His voice was calm, almost too calm. The shuttle dove downward, skimming past the burning base before shooting back into the sky. A pursuing fighter slammed into debris and exploded in a burst of light. Her breath caught in awe. This human, this enemy, flew with a skill she had never seen before, Her chest twisted with something strange. Admiration mixed with anger. She hated him. Yet she could not look away. 2 more fighters closed in. Ryan cursed under his breath. His hands danced across the controls. He switched the shuttle's weapons online. The girl's eyes widened as cannons lit up. Returning fire, the first enemy fighter exploded. But the second swung wide, its weapons locking onto them. A blast struck the shuttle's wing. The ship shuddered, alarms blaring louder. The girl was thrown against the seat, pain jolting through her side. Smoke filled the cabin. For a moment, she thought it was the end. Ryan gritted his teeth. He slammed a lever forward. The shuttle surged, engines screaming as they pushed far beyond their limit. He twisted sharply, dodging another blast. His knuckles turned white. Through the chaos, the alien girl's thoughts spun. Her own people had fired on her without hesitation. Yet the human beside her fought desperately to keep her alive. He did not know her name. He did not owe her anything, and still, he risked everything. Her voice broke through the alarms, shaky but fierce. "Why are you doing this?" She shouted. "Why save me? Why not leave me to die?" Ryan's eyes flicked toward her for a heartbeat. His mask of calm cracked. His voice was raw. "Because no one deserves to die alone." The words pierced her deeper than any weapon. Her chest tightened painfully. For the first time in her life, she saw a human not as a monster, but as something else. Something she could not yet name. The shuttle streaked through the stars. Trailing smoke, enemy fighters still followed. The battle was not over. But inside the alien girl's heart, a new battle had already begun between hatred she had always carried and the fragile spark this human had just lit. Asterisk. Between enemies, the shuttle drifted deeper into the black void of space, its engines coughing from damage. The panels inside the cockpit flickered, and smoke still clung to the corners. Ryan's hands were steady on the controls, though sweat rolled down his face. The alien girl sat silently beside him. Her arms crossed tightly. She had not spoken since his words, "No one deserves to die alone." Those words echoed in her chest like a wound she could not close. Her people had always taught her that humans were monsters, cruel and greedy. Yet here was a human, risking his life to protect her. She hated the confusion inside her heart even more than she hated him. Alarms broke the silence. A red light flashed above. Oxygen levels were dropping. The damage from the enemy fighters had punctured part of the system. Ryan cursed under his breath. "We'll have to land somewhere fast," he said. His voice was calm, but his eyes carried the weight of worry. He glanced at her. "If you know of any safe coordinates, now would be the time to share." She glared back, her pride burning. "Safe? There is no safe with you," she spat. "You are my enemy. You destroyed my world. I will never give you trust." Ryan didn't argue. He simply nodded and went back to the controls. His silence unsettled her. She had expected anger. She had expected him to shout. Instead, he only worked harder. Minutes stretched into eternity. The ship trembled. The air grew thinner. She could feel it in her lungs. Every breath was harder than the last. Her head spun, but she forced herself not to show weakness. Then her vision blurred, and her body swayed. She hated it, hated the weakness, but her legs gave way. She fell against the side panel. Ryan was there instantly, pulling her upright, his hand pressed against her shoulder. His voice urgent. "Stay with me. You need oxygen." She tried to push him away. "Don't touch me," she hissed. Her pride fought his grip. But her body betrayed her. She could not breathe. Ryan pulled an emergency mask from the side compartment and pressed it to her face. She struggled at first, her hands pushing weakly. But when the air filled her lungs again, the world steadied. Her body eased against the seat. Her eyes lifted. Slowly meeting his for the first time, she saw not pity, but determination. He wasn't saving her because she was useful. He wasn't saving her because he wanted anything. He was saving her simply because he refused to let her die. Her voice broke into a whisper, almost against her will. Why? Ryan's jaw tightened. He looked at her for a long moment, then turned back to the controls. Because? Even in war, we're still people, he said quietly. The silence that followed was heavy. For the first time in her life, she could not bring herself to call a human a monster. Her chest ached with the weight of her own confusion. The radar beeped, breaking the fragile moment. A small, lifeless moon appeared ahead. Ryan pointed. We can make it. We'll land there, fix the oxygen, and maybe survive a little longer. The alien girl swallowed hard. She wanted to argue, to spit out hate again, but her words did not come. Instead, she sat back in silence, her heart at war with itself. As the shuttle descended toward the barren moon, she closed her eyes. In the darkness of her thoughts, she whispered to herself, maybe not all humans are the same. The cold void. The shuttle descended onto the barren moon with a violent shudder. Dust clouds rose in pale swirls as the landing struts touched the rocky surface. For a long moment, silence filled the cockpit, broken only by the slow hum of failing systems. Ryan exhaled sharply. His knuckles were white from gripping the controls. Beside him, the alien girl sat rigid, her silver eyes fixed on the wasteland beyond the window. The moon stretched endlessly, a frozen desert under the pale glow of distant stars. This is where we survive, Ryan said quietly, powering down what little was left of the shuttles. Systems, if we're careful, we might fix oxygen, maybe communications too. The alien girl scoffed, though her voice trembled. Survive? You think we can survive here? You are blind, human. There is nothing but death on this rock. Ryan ignored her sharp words. He grabbed a toolkit and unlatched the hatch. A gust of thin, icy air rushed in, biting at their skin. He stepped down first, boots crunching against the frozen surface. Then he looked back, waiting for her. She hesitated. Her pride told her not to follow him, not to trust him. Yet the silence of the dead moon pressed heavy on her chest. Alone, she would freeze before sunrise. She stepped down, her long hair whipping in the dry wind. The air was thin, but just breathable, with the emergency filters strapped to their suits. Ryan carried a small generator, setting it against a ridge. For cover, his movements were efficient. Practiced, she watched him from a distance, trying to understand him. Hours passed, the temperature dropped further. The alien girl sat on a rock. Her arms wrapped around herself, her body trembled though. She fought not to show it. Ryan worked silently, connecting wires, patching oxygen lines. His breath fogged in the cold. Finally, he spoke, his voice breaking the silence. You should sit closer to the generator. It'll keep you warm. She turned her face away sharply. I don't need your warmth. I don't need you. Her words were sharp, but her body betrayed her. A violent shiver ran through her frame. Ryan sighed. He removed his jacket and walked toward her. She glared at him, ready to push him away, but he simply placed it beside her and stepped back. Saying nothing, her hands trembled as she looked at the jacket. For several long moments, she resisted. But the cold bit deeper into her bones. Finally, with a whisper of defeat, she pulled it over her shoulders. The warmth spread quickly, and to her shame, she felt relief. Ryan did not look at her. He continued working, as if her pride meant more to him than her gratitude. That unsettled her even more as the night stretched. The stars burned brightly above. Her silver eyes softened as she watched him. He was exhausted, his hands raw from cold metal, yet he kept going. No complaint, no hatred, only determination. Her voice finally broke the silence. Softer than before, why do you keep fighting for me? I am not your ally. I am not your friend. Ryan paused. His breath misted in the frozen air. He looked at her, his expression unreadable. Because you're alive, and alive is worth saving, he said simply. The words struck her again. Her chest tightened with a strange ache. She lowered her gaze, whispering more to herself than to him. Alive. But for what? The generator hummed softly, filling the silence above them. The vast sky stretched, endless and cold. Yet for the first time she felt that maybe, just maybe, she was not as alone as she thought. Asterisk. Memories of pain, the frozen silence of the moon, stretched endlessly. The weak hum of the generator was the only sound between them. Ryan sat beside the oxygen unit, tightening loose valves. His fingers were numb. But he worked with quiet determination. The alien girl sat nearby, her silver skin glowing faintly under the starlight. She pulled his jacket tighter around her shoulders. Though she would never admit it brought her comfort, her sharp eyes kept drifting toward him. Confused by his persistence, hours passed in. Heavy silence. At last, she spoke, her voice low. Why do you not ask me questions, human? Every other soldier stares at me, mocks me, demands my secrets, but you work as if I am not here. Ryan didn't look up. His hands kept moving. Because I don't need your secrets, he said calmly. I just need us both alive. His words unsettled her. She stared at him for a long moment, then finally let out a bitter laugh. Alive. You think that means anything? My people are gone. My family is gone. What is left for me? Hatred is all I have. Ryan paused this time. His eyes lifted to hers, steady but heavy. Then maybe I understand. You more than you think. Something in his voice made her frown. She tilted her head, her tone sharp. Understand? How can you possibly understand my pain? Ryan leaned back, exhaling into the cold night for the first time. His voice softened with weight. Because I lost everything too. The alien girl's eyes narrowed. She studied his face, looking for lies, but he didn't flinch, didn't turn away. My family lived near the first border, Ryan said quietly, when the war began. Your people attacked the colony. My parents never made it out. My little brother. His voice broke slightly, but he swallowed the pain and finished. I buried them in rubble with my own hands. Her breath caught. For a moment, her anger faltered. She expected him to say it with hatred, with blame, but his voice carried only grief. Silence stretched. The stars above seemed colder. She turned her face away, whispering almost unwillingly, my home was the first city humans destroyed. The sky burned red. My brother never came back from the fields. My mother's voice was lost in the fire. Her throat tightened. I was taken, caged, displayed like an animal. Ryan's hands stilled. He looked at her not as an enemy, but as someone who had suffered the same loss. So, you both lost everything, he said softly. Her eyes shimmered faintly, though she quickly hid it with anger. Do you not see, human? That is why I hate you. Your kind destroyed my world. Ryan's jaw tightened, his voice low, steady. And yours destroyed mine. The words hung between them like a blade. Yet instead of cutting deeper, the silence that followed felt different. For the first time, she saw her own reflection in his pain. Her voice cracked, almost a whisper. So what are we now? Two broken pieces, trapped on a dead rock. Ryan gave a faint, tired smile. Maybe. But broken pieces can still keep each other warm. Her chest tightened at the strange warmth those words carried. She quickly turned away, pulling his jacket closer, trying to hide the storm inside her heart. That night, under the endless stars, she dreamed for the first time not of revenge, but of a world where the fire in her chest could fade, even just for a moment. Asterisk, the betrayal. The barren moon lay silent under the pale glow of distant suns. Ryan adjusted the oxygen lines while the alien girl kept her eyes fixed on the endless stars. Her heart was still heavy from the memory she had shared. Yet something fragile lingered between them, a quiet thread neither wanted to name. The silence shattered when the radar inside the shuttle blinked red. A sharp alarm filled the air. Ryan rushed to the cockpit, his eyes narrowing. "Ship's incoming," he muttered. His jaw tightened. Not human. The alien girl's pulse quickened. She moved beside him. Her silver eyes widened as she saw the symbols on the screen, her people's fleet. Large and powerful, cutting across the stars like shadows. For a moment, her chest swelled with relief. "They came," she whispered. "They finally came for me." But Ryan's expression remained grim. "Don't be so sure," he warned. His hands hovered over the controls, preparing for the worst. Moments later, the comm system crackled to life. Her language filled the cockpit, sharp and commanding. "Destroy the human craft. Leave nothing behind." Her breath caught, her stomach twisted painfully. "No. They don't know I'm here," she muttered. But deep down, a darker truth struck her. What if they did know, and simply didn't care? The fleet descended fast. Fighters broke formation, circling the small moon-like hunters. Ryan's eyes met hers, steady and calm. "You need to decide now," he said. "Are they here for you, or against you?" Her throat closed. Her people had always promised loyalty, family, honor. Yet here, in the frozen silence, their words cut her like knives. They didn't call her name. They didn't ask for her life. They wanted her death alongside. The human, one fighter landed nearby, its metallic wings spread like a predator. Soldiers emerged, their weapons glowing, their eyes cold as stone. The alien girl stepped forward. She wanted to run to them, to beg them to see her. But the commander's voice echoed across the comm again. "Eliminate both targets. The alien girl is tainted. She belongs to the enemy now." The words struck her harder than any weapon. Her knees nearly buckled. Tainted enemy. Traitor. Her own people cast her aside as if she were nothing. Ryan stood between her and the hatch, his body tense. His eyes locked on the approaching soldiers. He didn't speak. But his stance said everything. He would fight, even if it killed him. Her chest burned. For so long, she had carried hatred for humans, yet in this moment, the only one standing for her life was the very enemy she once wished to kill. Tears stung her eyes. She whispered, almost choking on the words, "They've abandoned me." Ryan's voice was firm, steady like stone. "Then they don't deserve you." The soldiers raised their weapons. Ryan pulled her back into the shuttle. His fingers flew over the controls. The engines roared weakly, struggling but alive. The ship lurched upward, fire spitting from its wings. Blasts lit the sky. Explosions rattling through the hull. The alien girl gripped the seat, her heart racing. She turned to Ryan, her voice breaking. "Why are you doing this? You could leave me. You should leave me." Ryan's eyes burned with fierce resolve. "Because you're not theirs anymore," he said, "and I won't let them take you." The words carved into her soul. Her people had called her tainted. But here was a human who claimed her not as property, not as enemy, but as someone worth saving. As the shuttle tore through the firestorm, the alien girl realized the greatest betrayal was not by humans, but by her own people. And for the first time, she whispered, not with hate, but with fragile, painful hope, "Maybe I was wrong all along." The choice. The shuttle rattled violently as enemy fire chased them through the black sea of stars. Ryan's hands moved with sharp precision, forcing the crippled ship to weave through bursts of plasma. Each strike lit up the cockpit, painting their faces in flickers of blue fire. The alien girl clutched the side panel, her heart pounding like a drum. Her people's voices still echoed in her ears. "She is tainted. Destroy her with the human." Those words burned deeper than any wound. She had dreamed of rescue, but instead found betrayal. Ryan's voice broke through the chaos. We can't outrun them for long. His eyes flicked to the failing engine readouts. Smoke curling from broken panels. If I can buy us time, maybe you can escape in the pod. Her chest tightened. She shook her head violently. No, I will not leave you. The words escaped before she could stop them. Her pride screamed against them, but her heart refused to stay silent. Ryan glanced at her, a faint smile cracking. His battle-worn face, "You hated me an hour ago, remember?" Her silver eyes locked onto his, trembling. "I don't know what I feel anymore," she whispered. Before he could answer, enemy fighters closed in. The shuttle lurched as a blast tore across its wing. Sparks showered the cockpit, alarms screaming. Ryan gritted his teeth, slamming controls. Hold on. The shuttle spun violently, dodging death by inches, but another strike hit, and the craft dipped into a deadly spiral. Ryan yanked it back, his arms straining. The girl cried out, thrown against her harness in the chaos. She looked at him, his face hard with focus, sweat streaking down. Every movement risking his life, not for himself, but for her. Her people had abandoned her without hesitation. Yet this human fought the impossible to keep her breathing. Her heart cracked. For the first time she saw the truth. The line between enemy and savior was nothing but ash. Ryan's voice grew sharp, urgent. Listen. They'll target the reactor. If it blows, neither of us survives. But if I draw them off, you can escape. No. She shouted, tears stinging her eyes. If you go, you die. I cannot. I cannot lose the only one who stayed. His hands tightened on the controls. His eyes burned with fierce resolve. Sometimes survival means sacrifice, he said. I'd rather it be me than you. Her throat closed, rage and despair twisted inside her. She refused to let him throw his life away, not for her. Not when everyone else had already left her. Her hand shot out, gripping his arm with trembling strength. I am not theirs anymore, she whispered, her voice breaking, but I am not. Leaving without you. Their eyes met in the glow of fire and stars, and for a heartbeat. The war outside vanished. The radar screamed again. Enemy fighters locking onto them. Ryan's jaw clenched, preparing for his final move. But before he could act, the alien girl leaned forward. Her voice filled with raw defiance. Then we fight together. Ryan's eyes widened, but a fierce smile tugged at his lips. He nodded once. Together? Then? Her hands flew to the weapons console. Her fingers danced across controls she had once sworn never to touch. The shuttle's cannons lit the sky, blasts tearing through the void for the first time. She fought not for her people, not for revenge, but for the human who had given her hope. As fire streaked across the stars, her heart whispered the truth. She could no longer deny. She had a choice, and she chose him. A new sky. The shuttle blazed through the battlefield like a wounded bird refusing to fall. Enemy fire streaked around them, painting the stars in deadly light. Ryan's hands gripped the controls, sweat dripping down his brow. Beside him, the alien girl fired the cannons with sharp precision. Every blast shaking her frame. For the first time, they were not enemies. They were fighting together. Breathing together, surviving together. A fighter broke formation, diving straight for them. Ryan cursed and pulled the shuttle into a brutal roll. The girl locked onto the enemy, her fingers steady. A beam of light tore through the void, and the fighter exploded in a burst of fire. Her heart raced, not with hatred, but with something fierce and alive. Nice shot, Ryan said, his voice ragged but full of respect. Her silver eyes flicked toward him. And for once, she didn't glare. She only gave the smallest nod. But the battle was not over. The fleet pressed closer, their weapons burning bright. The shuttle shuddered with another hit. Alarms howling through the cabin. Ryan knew the ship couldn't last much longer. Then, through the chaos, the alien girl saw something, a rift in the fleet's formation. An opening toward the dark side of the moon. There, she shouted, pointing, "If you push through, we can lose them in the shadows." Ryan glanced at her, his eyes narrowing. "Are you sure?" She met his gaze, her voice sharp but certain. "Trust me." Without hesitation, he threw the shuttle. Into the gap, enemy fighters pursued, but the narrow passage of jagged rock and shadow forced them to scatter. The shuttle dove deeper, smoke trailing from its wings. At last, the radar cleared, the fleet pulling back, unable to follow. The cockpit fell into silence, only the weak hum of failing systems filling the air. Ryan leaned back, exhausted. His chest rose and fell heavily. The alien girl sat still, her hands trembling slightly on the weapons console. Slowly, she removed them, staring at her own fingers as if they no longer belonged to the same person. For the first time, those hands had defended a human. Not killed one. Ryan broke the silence, his voice quiet but steady. "We made it." She turned to him, her silver eyes glistening. "No," she whispered. "You made me." Ryan frowned, confused, but she continued, her voice trembling. "All my life, I believed humans were monsters. I hated you. I wanted your world to burn. But you gave me air when I was dying, warmth when I was freezing, and hope when even my people abandoned me." Her voice cracked, and a tear slid down her cheek. "You showed me that maybe the sky is bigger than hate." Ryan looked at her, and for the first time, he saw not an enemy, not a prisoner, but someone carrying the same scars he did. He reached out slowly, resting his hand gently on hers. She didn't pull away. The shuttle drifted toward the edge of the moon's orbit, to stars stretching endlessly before them. For the alien girl, this sky was no longer a prison of war, but a horizon of choices. She whispered, her voice soft but strong. "Maybe this world is not my enemy." Ryan gave a faint, tired smile. "Then maybe it can be our beginning, together, under the endless stars." They faced the unknown, not as enemies, but as survivors who had found something worth more than victory. They had found each other. And for the first time, the alien girl looked at the Earth in the distance, not with hatred, but with fragile hope. A new sky had opened, and she was ready to walk beneath it. Asterisk.